Hello and welcome to my review of ManagementStudio. My name is Peter von Oven, and in this, the final video in the series, I'm going to complete my focus on the 4Cs methodology and demonstrate how ManagementStudio can empower your project teams by delivering an enterprise-class software platform to deliver transformation as a process and to be your companion throughout the lifecycle of your project and beyond. So, in this video, collaborate is going to be our focus. To finish off the theme of projects being like books, if you want to follow the analogies I've used in previous videos, and having taken you through that journey of telling the story, collaboration is twofold in my book. First, it could be asking people to add their experiences, that's in the example of writing the book, or maybe talking to subject matter experts to get their input on the more factual topics. Then secondly, and once the book has been written, you work through the review process, ensuring accuracy and completeness, grammar, spelling. As you can see, the same applies to a project. However, for me there's a fine line between collaboration and communication, and to explain what I mean, I just want to highlight the very subtle differences in the use cases when it comes to ManagementStudio. We start with collaboration. Collaboration is aimed at the project team, those individuals who are managing and delivering the project, and is enabled by ManagementStudio's ability to deliver a collaboration platform with the features that enable you to create role-based project teams that have access to maybe more than one project, but all share a single source of data, and that data being collected and collated during the capture phase. From here you can start to allocate tasks to the team based on their role and also which project they're working on. And in this video I'm going to talk about those collaboration features and techniques that are part of the ManagementStudio platform. But that's where the line becomes much finer and a little blurred, as they could also now be seen as communicating, albeit internally amongst themselves, i.e. between the project team members. So communication for me is more about engaging those end users, the people that the project focuses on and affects, not only to make sure they're up to date on the project progress, and to use the self-service scheduling feature for example, but also to help the project team collate additional user-focused information and data that, as we've discovered, can only come from that human factor interaction. But in reality, they are just reading questions and providing answers and are not really part of the project team, and that is why they're not really considered as collaborators in the same way as those project team members are. So let's quickly wind the clock back to the first video and the first of the 4Cs, which is capture, just to refresh your memory. To recap, capture is the phase in which all data and information about your environment is collected by ManagementStudio. This is either automated or collected from communicating with the end users and gathering their input. All captured data is stored centrally and provides that single point of truth, which is also automatically updated in real time, managed by the capture process, or again by asking end users additional questions. So why am I covering old ground again? Well, the reason being is that capture is the very heart of where collaboration begins. Every project starts on this single point of truth, rather than different sources of information that potentially could be out of date or maybe even irrelevant. It means everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet, as the saying goes. But more importantly than that, it means that you can guarantee the outcome and come up with the same answers, as they're all based on the same set of data. From here you can control who has access to what parts of that data. Think of it as role-based access. For example, project leaders can see everything in all modules, whereas somebody working on a particular application migration project can only access the modules that are relevant for that particular application. I've created a diagram to better highlight some of this information. So in addition, ManagementStudio allows those different project team members to have different access levels. Maybe just read access on some of the information, but full control on the parts relevant to them. So now you can see how ManagementStudio has the ability to manage multiple projects simultaneously, all using one real-time set of data, as highlighted again in the diagram. So that, in a nutshell, and at a high level, is collaboration in the ManagementStudio world. But it goes much further and deeper than that, and I'm going to look at some of the other collaboration features in just a little bit more detail. So I'm going to start with who can I collaborate with? Obvious question, but who can I work with? The answer is easy. Anybody want to? Using the contacts feature of ManagementStudio. Whether that person is inside your organisation, you can add them manually, create an account, or use them from the existing directory services. Or, if I use myself as an example, an outside third-party contractor where you can add people manually using the email address or name details as shown in the screenshots. You'll see that I've been added to the project and then the project manager when creating my account. I added a role to my account to reflect the part I play in the project. Once I was added as a user, and by checking the box for sending the welcome email, I received the welcome email that you would have seen right back at the start when we talked about capture. So now I have a centralized set of data. I've invited people to collaborate or work with me on my project. What's next? What actually do they collaborate on? Well, we briefly touched on this back when I discussed the control phase of the 4 Cs, and in particular I'm referring to the tasks feature. In that video I showed you how you could create a task and then manage that task through its journey from being first created all the way to successful completion. But the part I didn't tell you is that you can assign tasks to other members of the project team, so you can work as a team together to resolve them. It also means there is an audit trail, and using the reporting and data mining feature we've already discussed, you can see where perhaps there are tasks that are holding the project up, what's not been completed, what's not been started yet. To demonstrate that in the screenshots, I've shown the main tasks page again, but this time also how to assign a task, again to me in this example, set the priority of that task, the category it relates to, and enter a description of the task, and more importantly, set those task due dates. Once assigned, ManagementStudio will alert the assignee, me, when they log into the ManagementStudio client. But in addition, you can set automatic reminders that, for example, tell the assignee that the due date is rapidly approaching and they need to get the project on track. As you can see, this is collaboration at its best and allows the team to work together to achieve the project goals by collaborating on project tasks. But it doesn't stop here. You can collaborate on another type of task that is more specific rather than the more general task we've just discussed. Let's pick one. Defects. That's a key one to manage to work through. So as I said, something else we've touched on previously is the defect feature, where ManagementStudio enables you to log project faults and issues that stop a project from moving forward. In this case, think of it as your project help desk. I showed you previously how to create a defect and how you could create an automated workflow around resolving that defect, or maybe dependencies so that defects are looked at in the right order. For example, you need a new device driver, and the dependency is that the vendor sends you the new device driver so the defect can continue through the journey to resolution. I did touch briefly on assigning a defect to one of the project team members back in the control article, but not wanting to steal Collaborate's thunder at that time, I've saved the detail for now. In the screenshot, you will see that I can view all of the recorded defects, all of the things that are currently stopping the project from moving forward and being successfully completed. I was then able to pick a team member, me again, and assign the defect to myself. I would then be notified that I have been assigned a defect, and then it will appear in the My Defects page of the ManagementStudio client. From here, I can work on the defect, update it, create subtasks to define the resolution process, and essentially manage the whole defect process to the point of resolution, whereby the project can then successfully continue. It's also possible to run a defect readiness report of applications, for example, or any other module for that matter, so you can quickly identify if defects are holding up any application from moving forwards. This can be automatically emailed to the appropriate project stakeholder, admin team, again further enhancing the collaboration and communication opportunities. So just to finish up on that theme of notifying project team members, obviously end users are notified via email about project milestones or other requests. However, with ManagementStudio users, aka the project team, not only will they receive those email notifications, but they will also receive pop-up notification messages within the ManagementStudio client itself. There is then a notifications dialog box that also provides an audit trail or history of previous notifications. So we've now reached the end of the story, and in this final video we've discussed the last of the 4 Cs, collaborate, and what that means for ManagementStudio. Collaboration is a key part of any project and helps to build that true project team environment. After all, as the saying goes, there's no I in team. Building on the Management Studio communications platform, Collaborate takes that to the next level, enabling project team members to work together through project tasks, whether those tasks are general tasks or are more specific tasks such as issues and defects, all with the goal of ensuring the project or projects are on track. Finally, don't forget that Management Studio allows multiple projects to run simultaneously. So to conclude, as with all good books, there is always a conclusion and hopefully, in this case, a happy ending. Or maybe there's a cliffhanger, which might lead to the next book. We shall see. In Management Studio terms, the happy ending is of course a successfully completed project. It might be stating the obvious by saying the overall outcome is clearly important, but it is also equally important that the journey to get there was also smooth and without too many bumps along the way. In my series of reviews, I hope I have demonstrated that Management Studio is an enterprise class solution for ensuring that smooth transition through the various different project phases. It brings together a single source of captured and collated data that enables project teams to make project decisions that define the steps to complete the project successfully. While, along the way, all involved in the project, from those who are directly affected by the project to those who are delivering the project, everyone is kept engaged and up to date. To use one final analogy, Management Studio is like the conductor of an orchestra. It can bring in all the right things at the right time with simple yet precise instructions. So in those terms, think of Management Studio not only as transformation as a process, but also as a project orchestrator. But projects don't sit still for too long. The next one is literally around the corner, it's waiting, and with Management Studio by your side, you can tackle this head on as you have the life cycle of continuous transformation and information at your fingertips. So what's next? If you enjoyed this video series, then you can also read the reviews online by visiting the link shown on screen. You can follow Management Studio on LinkedIn, or you can visit the Management Studio website and read all the case studies and the additional information that's available there. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this series of video reviews, and all that remains from me is to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I hope you see you soon for more Management Studio goodness.